The gavel cracked through the air, and every head in the courtroom turned. But no one knew they were about to accuse the wrong person. The sound of the gavel echoed off the wooden panels, cutting through the murmurs like a knife. "Bring the defendant forward," the judge ordered, his voice stern. The heavy double doors creaked open, and in stepped a female bailiff, her polished shoes clicking sharply against the marble floor. At her side, the accused. She was striking, not in a loud way, but with an undeniable presence, navy blue suit perfectly pressed, blonde hair pulled into a neat bun, chin lifted just enough to say, "I'm not afraid of you." Holding her arm, guiding her toward the bench, was Officer Daniels, tall, broad-shouldered, his police uniform stretched neatly across a frame that looked like it belonged in recruitment posters. But his face carried something else, a smug, almost mocking grin. As they walked, he leaned just close enough for only her to hear. "Hope you've got a good excuse, sweetheart. You're not walking out of this one." Whispers rippled through the public gallery. The prosecution's opening statement had already painted her as a dangerous fraud, an imposter who had somehow breached a federal building using a false identity. Daniels had testified with an air of casual arrogance. "She got belligerent when I asked for ID," he'd said. "Acted like she was above the law. When I pressed, she told me I wouldn't understand." The jury sat stiff, some leaning forward with narrowed eyes. To them, her calmness looked like guilt. Every detail of her, from the crisp lines of her suit to the way she kept her hands clasped in front, was being weighed, measured, judged. She didn't flinch. She didn't interrupt. She simply stood there, letting the tension settle thick in the air. "Before we go further, have you ever been in a situation where everyone assumed you were guilty, but you knew the truth? Tell me in the comments." The judge leaned forward and asked, "Mrs. Collins, is there anything you wish to say in your defense?" That's when the entire room changed. For the first time since entering the courtroom, she moved forward on her own. Her heels clicked in a steady rhythm across the polished wood floor. She stopped just a few feet from the bench, her voice calm but edged with something steel-like. "Yes, Your Honor. I've been accused of pretending to be someone I'm not. Officer Daniels claims I refused to identify myself, but there's a reason for that." The prosecutor leaned back in his chair, lips curling into a smirk, as if he was about to hear a ridiculous excuse. "At the time," she continued, "I was on classified duty. Orders were clear. I could not reveal my identity to anyone outside my chain of command." A scoff escaped from the prosecution table. "Classified duty? Really?" Daniels folded his arms, flashing his grin to the jury again. The woman didn't blink. Instead, she reached into the inside pocket of her blazer. The entire room seemed to hold its breath. The slow movement of her hand was deliberate, controlled. Her fingers emerged holding a small, gleaming piece of metal. She placed it on the defense table with care, a gold insignia catching the courtroom light. Gasps erupted in the gallery. Daniels' grin faltered, his eyes narrowing as if to process what he was seeing. The judge leaned forward, his brow furrowing. "Is that?" She spoke evenly. "This is the United States Navy SEAL trident. It's not bought. It's not borrowed. It's not faked. It's earned. I served 12 years as a SEAL, deployed on missions that will never be declassified. My work has kept this country safe in ways you'll never read about." From the back row, a voice rang clear. "No need to verify, Your Honor. I'm Admiral Ree, and she's telling the truth." A man in a dark suit decorated with service pins stood tall. "If I may add," he said, "this woman has risked her life more times than anyone in this room." From that moment, no one in the courtroom saw her the same way. The judge's hand lowered from his chin. His eyes didn't leave the trident. Slowly, he stood from his bench. "Miss Collins," he said, his voice now carrying a weight of respect, "on behalf of this court and this country, I apologize. You are free to go." The room erupted. The gallery broke into applause, a few veterans in the crowd standing to honor her. Admiral Ree stepped forward, shaking her hand firmly, pride clear in his eyes. The once confident Officer Daniels was silent, his posture smaller now, his gaze fixed anywhere but on her. As she walked past him, she paused. Her voice dropped to a quiet, razor-sharp whisper. "Next time you think someone's pretending, remember, not all uniforms look like yours." Outside the courtroom, reporters swarmed like a tidal wave, microphones thrust forward, cameras flashing. She didn't answer a single question. She didn't need to. The truth was already out. Her footsteps echoed down the courthouse steps, the weight of her silence speaking louder than anything she could say. Because some people carry their service in secret, until the moment the world forces them to prove it. Moral of the story is that never judge someone by what you think you see. Some carry their service in silence until the day they have no choice but to prove it.